they had so much respect and admiration for drug dealers that they wanted to be drug dealers. And that's why so many of them get that money and go back to the streets. You know, we did it. We was trying to get out of the streets. They get the money and go back to the streets.
So over the last like 10 years, there's been a discussion on the internet, and they basically point out how in the early 2000s, and I guess earlier before that, a lot of the music talked about pushing drugs or selling drugs, right? Now you get to like, I don't know, 2015, we got people like Lil Peep, Juice World, you know, they talk heavy about drug use, right? They say that the correlation from a lot of the music being put out talking about pushing the drugs versus using it kind of makes sense from generation. As somebody that kind of like seen how drugs can affect a community, what's your general thoughts on that? Like, do you see the correlation with that at all?
I understand what you're saying. And I know why, you know, most of the rappers rapped about selling drugs because they idolize drug dealers. I don't know if you saw the documentary that King T did a few years back, but he did a documentary where they talked about how rappers were saying that, oh, well, my big homie was a drug dealer. He paid for my studio time, so I wanted to dress like him. You know, I wanted to wear the jewelry he wanted. I wanted to drive the car that he was driving. So they had so much respect and admiration for drug dealers that they wanted to be drug dealers. And that's why so many of them get that money and go back to the streets.
Right.
You know, instead of, you know, we did it. We was trying to get out of the streets. They get the money and go back to the streets. As for the using part, if you don't really need to sell drugs and make money and you got drugs around, then the next thing is that you use them. They kind of coincide with each other.